All right, good evening. Thanks for coming out. I know we finally have a beautiful day where it's nice and warm and it's not rainy and we've all got things to do, so we don't want to waste anybody's time and we want to get right through the business at hand. But if you're not familiar with some of us, I am Marty Kroll.
I'm Cameron Diedrich.
Cameron Diedrich, he's my assistant. We run the band programs here. I think most of you know us. If you didn't get a chance to get a packet of info, please grab one. Tiffany's got several. And then out at the front, we've got, we're taking contact info. You got that in an email today, hopefully. So if you've already filled that out, you don't need to do that over there. But we've got QR codes you can scan, fill them out on your phone, or use the iPads and punch it all in. So we want to make sure we've got all your contact info so you can get a hold of us, we can get a hold of you. But today's meeting is really about introducing ourselves. I saw lots of 8th graders and their parents here, so getting you to feel comfortable with what we do here at the high school. And we're actually really pumped that this coming year looks like we get to have a real school year with real things we get to do, go to away games and all that kind of stuff. So that's really what's keeping me going, is looking ahead, because right now if I look at today, I'm like, oh, I gotta come back tomorrow and do another one of these days? Yeah, so we're looking forward to the future. All the information that we passed out today, you can find on the band website. So I always encourage people, go to ashlandbands.org. There's all the information there. Contact information for our boosters, contact information for us. On a resources tab, all the information for the dates, for band camp and things like that. On the bands tab, if you click marching band, all the info, all the music we're playing, all the audio for that music we're playing. It's a great resource. So tons of things there. But I'm just really saying hi, and I'm excited that we get another season. We get some time to create something awesome for our kids. So with that said, I'm going to pass this over to the boosters. But before I do, I think it's worth noting we've had boosters that have been here many years, that have had kids go through the program, and they've really stepped up to make this work. And you're going to hear all about that in just a second. But one of our boosters has been president for multiple years, and one of our boosters was treasurer for multiple years, and they both decided to move on, which is great, for 2 reasons. One, their sanity, right? And 2, they really believe that without bringing up more people in the booster program, that we can't sustain what we do, and what we do is amazing. So under the guidance of them and our other boosters, we've created a nonprofit that our boosters flies under, so we can do lots of creative things. We can do things with our fundraising that we weren't able to do before that. We've really accomplished a ton with these folks. So I wanted to call up Jimmy and Trina just for a second to say thank you for all your service with us. All right, Jimmy's going to take over, and we'll be around with any questions later on if you have any.
Appreciate you guys coming out, really. So normally when I stand up like this, I'd be preaching, so just hang in there. It'll only be 20 minutes. Just kidding. Marty said a bunch of good stuff. This program will only carry on if you guys want it to, and if you want to help, and that's what we need. And there's a lot of good kids, and I can tell from the kids that they've got a lot of good families, and so I'm excited about that for the program as I step away. Lots of thanking that I'd like to do tonight. I'd like to thank Jason Goings and all the folks that made football season happen last year, because that gave our kids their place to do their thing, their venue to march, and we didn't know if they were going to get it or not, and it was awesome. It wasn't what they thought. They didn't go to away games, which that's where they really act up and get crazy, but it was a lot of fun, and they got to do that. We've got folks that are in charge of our hospitality committees, and they did a movie night for the kids, and that was a great success. we had ice cream, and we had popcorn, and just trying to create more environment for them to get to know each other and to create bonds. And that's very important. Marty alluded to some of the things that we've been able to do, and some of the things that we felt like we had to do, and that was to update equipment so that we could get out there in these unprecedented times. So that we could still have our kids being seen and heard, which was really great because, like a lot of folks, we've got family that are out of state, and they got to be a part of it. Yeah, that's not normal. We don't normally get to broadcast our marching and our concerts, but grandmas and grandpas got to see it, and that was really awesome. That was a good thing. Same with the jazz band at the basketball games. They got to do their thing. It was amazing. And I don't know if you guys were aware of how much these kids worked and how hard it was for them this year, because they didn't really get together as a band. They did sectionals, they got together in small groups, but yet they still were able to pull off some pretty amazing concerts, and they got a 1 in contest, playing one of the pieces that was the hardest level that you were allowed to play, and it was the hardest piece of music that they've played to date. So they were killing it, even in these restricted times that they found themselves in. So my hat's off to your kids. Very, very talented. And again, I mean, the kids are a good part, but one of the bigger parts is our directors. We have great directors, and again, great parents. If you've not met Dr. Mara and the principals of the schools, they're the ones that made these decisions to let us do this work and to work with your kids and for them to be back in school and all that stuff. So that's not to be taken lightly, because there were so many other schools that were like, no, you can't. You're not doing it. You're not traveling, you're not doing anything, you're not going anywhere. And so again, and then one of the other things I would like to thank as I'm kind of wrapping up is the boosters. I work with a lot of good people, and they really love your kids. And they put a lot of hours in. They all have jobs, and this is all volunteer. And they put a lot of hours in because they love your kids, and they want them to have good experiences. All right, well, as Marty said, I am stepping down, so I have a few more duties this evening. But I really appreciate you guys allowing me to serve in this capacity. Thank you very much.
All right. I am talking about the Disney Funds update. So we switched to cut time a couple years ago, and that's where we keep track of pretty much everything. But part of that is the fundraising dollars that your children make, well, you make for your children, let's be real. But anyway, those have been updated. So with the cancellation of the 2020 trip, fortunately, we had never deducted those funds from your accounts, so they haven't been right for like a year and a half now. But those are all updated. So any fundraising money that was already sent to NOWAC, if you were registered for the 2020 trip, that's still with NOWAC. So it has been deducted from your cut time account. And then any fundraising money that you've earned since then that hasn't been sent will reflect in cut time is what you will. If there are seniors or last year's seniors that had funds and wanted to transfer those to another student, that's been done also. I think all of them, there might be a couple outstanding still, but that should all be up to date. Now, when you go into cut time, don't get scared. The way we had to do this to be easiest, because it doesn't quite work like we'd like it to, we created a financial obligation for the Disney trip. So for any student that's so far signed up, which the 8th graders haven't signed up yet, I don't believe, which Mr. Carl's going to talk about later. So they'll show a financial obligation in there for whatever the cost of the trip is, $1,100 and something, I think. So that shows what you owe. And then we transferred the fundraising money against that. So if you had $100 of fundraising money, your trip would be $1094 or whatever it is. That is in no way reflecting what you actually owe NOWAC. So make sure you stay on top of your account with NOWAC to know what you owe, what you've paid, all that. Our side of things is just showing the fundraising money. At the end, when the trip happens, we'll zero those out. So it's not like financial obligations show up in there, like your band fees will be one. That'll be something that you pay the band in this summer for marching band fees. But the no-walk account, just ignore. It's just there to show what fundraising money has been applied. So that's the only up-to-date part of it. And there's a note in there that kind of explains that. But that's what that means if you need that. I think that's it. Anything else about that? Okay. I'm out.
All right. So part of the boosters deal is that we have officers. And so every year at this meeting, we have to vote in new officers, and that's where you get to be part of what's going on here. So with me stepping down, we have Heather Russell that has decided that she'd like to run for president. I also want to take a minute to, if anybody else would like to run for president, you can raise your hand and we can vote on you as well. Okay, nice crickets. Okay, Heather, please stand up. Take your mask off, look at everybody. There you go. This is Heather Russell. All in favor of Heather Russell as your president of the Band Boosters, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Crickets, awesome. You're dubbed the Presidente. Yeah, we can do that later. Okay, running again for re-election is Stephen Brown for vice president. This is Stephen. Would anybody like to run against him, please? Please. All right. All in favor of Stephen as our vice president? Aye. Excellent. Opposed? Not even one. That's good. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys. So our treasurer is stepping down, Trina, and so what's that? Peanut gallery. So Craig Stitzline, he's not here. You guys can boo him. He's in Myrtle Beach. Thank you very much. So Craig is running for treasurer. Anybody opposed to Craig Stitzline as our treasurer?
Yeah.
Monkey. You're outvoted. So all in favor of Craig as Craig Stitzline as our treasurer? Aye. Excellent. So it's carried. Craig is our treasurer. Finally is the lovely and illustrious Tiffany Sanders, aka my wife. She is going to be reelected as your secretary, and I will tell you what, this place doesn't run without her. So, all in favor of Tiffany, please stand up. This is Tiffany. So all in favor of Tiffany Sanders as your secretary, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's right. Ooh, I'll come back there. All right, so okay, Tiffany is your secretary for another year. And again, I'd like to thank you guys. I'd like you to contemplate maybe next year running for an office, because we need new faces, especially freshmen. They're coming in. We need this to carry on. And if you are a freshman parent, you're going to see that this is a pretty well-oiled machine. With the way Mr. Crawl has set up his music department, and the way that the boosters work with him, and we only have a few things that, like we've driven a stake in the ground, and that is all the kids will be treated with respect and will be treated equally, and the funds raised will be spread among them equally, so that no one will have any kind of favoritism shown to them for any reason. Not even me. They wouldn't even give me any favoritism, and I thought that was unfair. But anyway, yeah, please consider that. So we're going to keep beating that drum. Everybody's going to be asking you to get involved and be a part. And it doesn't have to be an officer. You can be a member at large. You can just come to the meetings and hear what we're doing and be a part. And that way we'll get to see you more and then twist your arm into being an officer. So, thanks.
All right, hello everybody. I'm going to go ahead and talk for a minute before Stephen goes into the different committees. In your packet that we gave out, we decided to give you guys that to take home because sitting and listening, there may be things that you forget, and so we wanted you to be able to take that home. Let's see, pack it up here and then somebody. Okay, my husband talking. Thank you. So I have a couple of copies in here of what cut time looks like. And all of you should already have access to your cut time account. If you've tried to get in there and you don't, there is a link from the band's website you can go to get there. The first page in here just kind of shows you what the first thing is that you'll see when you log in. And it's going to show you where our calendar is. Trina talked about financial obligations. When you send in your kids' fees money, you can see that it actually turned it in because Mr. Diedrich will go in and report that. You can pay those fees online if you want to, and it walks you through how to do that. They have forms they have to turn in. You can make sure that they actually did turn them in. And it also walks you through where you can volunteer. And then there's a couple other pages. The copiers just aren't that great, but it does show you, basic idea of how the calendar module works. The section that explains away games, we try to tell you guys the location of the game, not just the school, but what's the address of the game. Because if you want to drive, it helps you to know exactly where you're going. We also tell you what time the bus is leaving, or in the case of home games, what time the kids are expected to be here and ready to go. Sometimes, the kids are always told that by Mr. Kroll, but often the parents don't actually get that information because kids aren't great at that sometimes. So that is in there. The last page of cut time information is about volunteering, and one of the things that Stephen's going to talk about quite a bit when he comes up in a few minutes is our concession stand. It is the biggest fundraiser for the band program. The reason that we were able to get new uniforms and new drums and mellophones and some baritones last year is because over the years, as we've made money through concessions, a good part of that gets put away and saved so that down the road we can replace stuff as it needs to be replaced. We also use it for stuff that's happening right now, and so it's important that go well. This past year, it was easy because with all the restrictions, we needed like 10 people, so it was pretty simple. When Stephen talks, you're going to see that we need almost 40 people for a game to run 2 stands because they're a lot busier. There's a lot more people coming through. And so we need those for every single one of our home games. I want to encourage everybody to at least take one game and say, I'm going to go take a job and step into those roles. So at some point this summer, and I'll let you know when I do this, I'll go into the calendar and I will update every single game with all of the jobs we need, and you can jump in and sign on. Stephen's going to talk a little bit more about those jobs when he comes up. I have another page on here that just says other ways to help, and these are just some miscellaneous things that we need every year. I'm going to have Jen Wash stand up and wave at you guys real quickly. Jen has taken over our uniform duties, and we have over the past few years really gotten that down to very well oiled, and we have a nice assembly line that goes, and we get there pretty easily. We do uniforms the first 2 days of band camp, and we get 115 kids uniformed, and it goes pretty well. But we do need hands to do that. So if you're available those first 2 days, watch for an email from me about how to come in and help us. Jen will do a little bit over the summer to kind of get ready for that. She'll also need some help before games, making sure the kids have their hats and have all their things and are ready to go. So that's a way when you did your form, if you want to step in and help with some of that, that's a possibility. For each away game, we're going to need 6 chaperones. Chaperoning might sound like a nightmare to you. It's actually super easy as long as you don't get car sick. You basically get on the bus, take attendance, and then watch the football game, and then take attendance and drive back. So it's not like while you're there you have to really do anything. You just get a free ride to an away game. So that's nice. We provide pizza in the third quarter for our band and for the visiting band. And so if you own a business or perhaps your employer might be interested in sponsoring pizza, let me know that and I'll reach out to them. It's quite a bit of pizza that we buy every week. We try to promote them through our social media and over the PA system and things like that. For the past couple of years, Tanya Kroll has organized all of our dining out fundraisers, and she's going to continue to do that, but if you would like to help her handle some of those phone calls, and if maybe in a couple of years you're like, oh, I don't mind taking that over, let us know and we can get you connected with her. We need lots of cookies for band camp, so right about the time band camp starts, he's going to start asking for stuff to be sent in for the kids to eat on their breaks. And then two of the things that I did list on there, as Jimmy said, there are a couple of jobs that are going to need to get filled in a couple of years. If you look down the list of people that have been super involved, you're going to see that there are a lot of parents of next year's juniors. We have our youngest graduating that year. Craig's band kiddo graduates that year. Steven's got a kid in that class. A lot of us have kids in that class. And so we're going to need some people stepping into those roles. One of the things that's been really helpful, I think, Trina, you can tell me if I think this is true, it's helped you a lot this year to have a co-treasurer in Craig, because she can slowly teach him kind of the ropes, and then he can now take it over for 2 years. I think that both with secretary and treasurer, we have everything in a really good place that it's easy to kind of step in and do that. So if either of those are things that you're interested in doing, let us know. We can kind of start looking at it this year, and then next year work with myself or with Craig to really step into that. And if you feel like Tiffany does a whole lot of stuff and I don't want to do it, a lot of what I do as a volunteer for other things here, so some of it has nothing to do with my spot as a booster. All right. Steven's going to come up and talk about some committee stuff, and then I'll be up again to talk about one other item here in a little bit.
All right, good evening. Just so everybody knows, yeah, I got a junior, but I also have a fourth grader. So I'm in for the long haul. And I've been involved with a lot of things in town, whether it's the baseball program, just a lot of things that I've never been able to say no to. So this year I finally was able to say no to a lot of things, and I just kept this. That way we can do a little more focus here. So with that, my wife runs the concession stand. If you could stand up, please, so everybody can see. No, I said stand up. Put my foot down, you saw that. One for the year, let's be real. So with the concession stand, Tiffany touched on it. We need a lot of help. In the packet, there is a page that shows the concession stand jobs. At any time, please ask. Some of them seem a little intimidating. Some of them seem very easy. I'm going to tell you they're all easy. I've done every single job in there. We have Thursday night setup that we typically like to see the same people do every week, because it's a system, and it's got to be set up a certain way, so we don't want to have to try to train somebody every single week to do it, if that makes sense. That way we can just come in, get it done, and we're out and within an hour. Sometimes, the first year that I did it, it was a couple hours a night, because we didn't know what the heck we were doing. So it was rough. Also, feed the bands. Currently, Tiffany does feed the bands. And with that, she doesn't get to spend a lot of time kind of watching the band play, because she's always working. So we are trying to get somebody that will oversee that and then also help work that. So the overseer will basically just ask Tiffany, how many kids are in the other band? And at that point, we can figure out how many pizzas we need. I'll then order all the pizza. It'll get delivered, 10 minutes before halftime. Then basically during halftime, we put everything in the mule, we set it down on by the end zone, by the field house, get tables set up with cups of water, and we hand out pizza and we hand out water. That's it. It is a lot of work for a short amount of time, but it's really not that hard. But that is something that we could really, really use help on she's done it for 4 years, every single Friday night game. So we would like someone to try to take that over. Let's see, what else? Fan food. I don't know if Abby's gonna be around this year. She did a great job with fan food. That's basically just watching we got a website. that this all runs through. People can order food in the stands. We pick the food, bag it, get it all ready, and then they can just come down and pick it up. We need somebody that is willing to just do that. That can be somebody different every week. That's not a big deal. But that's becoming, we're hoping, becomes a very big job for us to help drive sales. Let's see, what's the other one? Oh, the cleanup. So the cleanup crew comes in about midway through the fourth quarter. And midway through the fourth quarter, we really start tearing everything down, cleaning up. Now last year, if anybody was in there, the same crew that ran it is the same crew that cleaned it up, because there was just not very many people. We didn't have a whole lot of stuff going on. But when we're running full capacity, we do need those extra hands to come in and kind of help focus on the cleanup side of things. So that's a really important job as well. So I would just personally ask, that's probably the number one way to really break into helping this band. Concessions is, I'm gonna go on a limb and probably say 80% of all of our fundraising is through the concession stand. So it is by far the single most important thing that we do as a boosters organization for these kids. So please, 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 when you see these emails come out from Tiffany, sign up, grab them. And don't be afraid of any of the jobs. One of us are always in there to help. I mean, we got plenty of hands. So there's that. Any questions on that? Okay. All right, so fundraising. I'm actually gonna have Will and Heather come up real quick to talk about a little bit of that with regards to all the stuff that you can read on the thing.
Okay, so Will and I were the fundraising committee the last couple of years, and there's a few things besides the concession stand that we do to raise funds for the kids. One of them is called Shop with Script. If you guys turn, you'll see this little packet, part of your packet here. It's actually really easy. It's a Raise Right app. You probably, I don't know, you might have heard of Shop with Script before. A couple of other schools do it, but there's actually an app now that there didn't used to be. It's called the Raise Right app. If you download that, then on the paperwork there's a code that when you're registering, that code will take you to our fundraising site. The way it works is, the way I've used it anyways, is during band camp particularly, I downloaded this app on my daughter's phone. I bought gift cards for Burger King, Taco Bell, all the places that they're gonna go during band camp to go eat. And then she could just take her phone in and pay for her lunch. And every time I bought those cards on there, then that put money right back into the band boosters. So it's really easy. So if you're going to Walmart, you can buy a Walmart gift card on there, go to Walmart, do your shopping, scan it, they gave us money. Your only thing you're gonna pay for are the small convenience fee. If you use your checking account to purchase those gift cards online, then it's like 15 or 20 cents, I can't remember exactly how much it is. 15 cents per actual transaction. So if you buy 20 cards on there, that's one transaction, 15 cents. If you use a credit card, it is a percentage of the sale. So it's better to just link your checking account right to it. I've even gone out to eat, been like, hey, is this one on here? Oh look, Bob Evans. While sitting at Bob Evans, I got my bill, I went in, I bought a gift card for the amount of the bill, I paid for it with the gift card, the band made money. Easy. So we don't do anything with actual gift cards, actual physical gift cards, because they charge us so much to ship them to us that it's actually not worthwhile. We actually end up paying more than what we make. So that's one way that we can do it. It's really easy. Another thing that we're doing, like was said, that Tanya is in charge of doing all the Dine to Donates. And we just wanted to say that there is going to be another Dine to Donate on June 2nd. That's in your list there. The first one was we didn't make very much money on it because there was some confusion. You cannot do online orders with B-Dubs when you do the Dine to Donate. You have to either go in or call it in. You can call it in and take it out, but you can't do online orders. It doesn't go to us. So those are a couple of the ways that we do fundraising. And other ways we've done it is we've done flower sales for the musical. That was actually really fun. It's really fun to getting to see all these people coming in and writing cards to their kids and to all these kids and getting to deliver these flowers to these kids, and they just thought that was, the kids appreciate it so much, but it also made money for the band. So everything we do is not just to make money, it's always a service for something else too. So with that, I think Tiffany has something else with fundraising for the Elite card, right? Oh, and Amazon Smile. That's right. I forgot the other.
If you guys are familiar with Amazon Smile, basically if you shop on Amazon, you can set us up as a nonprofit that you want to support, and they'll give us, it's a small amount, but if a bunch of people do it, then all your shopping can help us a little bit. One thing that Steve and I both failed to mention, as far as concessions, whenever you work in the concession stand, you earn credits that help and give your child money in their trip account. So the credits, we can't say how much they're worth because it depends on how much we make in the year and a lot of variables, how many people work, things like that. But it does transfer straight into your child's account. And we have set it up so that if you work a job that is super helpful but is only an hour, it's worth a credit. But there are some jobs that you're there for 4 hours on your feet, and those are worth a little bit more credits because we recognize that it takes a whole lot more than just like what I did with doing Feed the Bands on Friday night. That wasn't really much stress at all. But some people, it is a little bit more work to do some of those jobs. So it's really important for the program. Honestly, the reason we need you to volunteer is because we need it to keep going, but it's also something that can help your kiddo in what they're doing. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is the very last page in this packet. And we as officers are taking a gamble this year and changing how we're doing our fundraising card. So for many, many years, Melissa, you might know how many, but many, many years, we have sold the orange cards that everybody around is aware of. And they usually had like 18, 20 different businesses on there that would give us a discount. And you would sell that card, and then your child would get half of that into their personal trip account. And this year we were approached by a local company about doing that a little bit differently. So as opposed to getting a discount at 18 to 20 places, at this point we have 45 businesses that have committed to being on that card. Almost every single downtown business is on there, and that's one of the things that we kept getting asked for. Can we get more downtown businesses? Can we get more local stuff? And so we've heard you, and we have almost every business downtown has said, yeah, we want to be on there. Now the question is how we obviously can't print all those businesses on a card. So there's going to be a few ways that you can access those. There's a QR code you can scan on the card. It'll pull up a list. Whenever somebody buys a card, we'll have a cardstock form. They can stick it on their fridge, they can put it in their car, whatever they want to do. Also, all of these businesses have agreed to put signage up so that when you walk in or when you're at the register, you can see right there, oh, they accept this card. I've had an orange card since my daughter was a freshman, and I'll tell you that I usually only remember to use it at 2 places because I forget all the places that are on there. So with this, when I'm at the register, I'll see that and go, oh yeah, I can use that here. So we really feel like this will be even a bigger asset for people. And one of the nice things is it's not printed on there, which means partway through the year, if somebody's like, oh, I want to get on that card, boom, one email and it's set up. So it's very easy for us. We don't actually have to do it. The company that's printing them will take care of any kind of adjustments. Once a business goes on, they're on until, through the year. And this card, once we start selling it, is good until October of next year. So it ends up being 14, 15-ish months. So the question that everybody asks us is, what's this going to do to the price? And I will tell you that it is going to have to go up. When we were talking about how much we wanted to sell these at, we did a lot of looking at other sale, discount options. We did some surveying and some polling of people, and we were finding that similar type things people were selling for anywhere from $15 to $25. Some of them were only, booklets of one-time use things. And so as we talked about it, something that was really important to us was that we continue to make sure that your child receives the majority, or at least half is what we've done in the past, of that money. We did not want to, leave it at $10, which is what it was, and say, oh, now your kid only gets $2.50, because it is going to cost us more to do these. And so the decision that we came to is to price it at $20. $10 of that goes into your child's fund. So right there, you're going to be making more on the cards. I really don't think you're going to have a hard time selling them. If you look down that list of the businesses on here, one of the things that's neat is that there's more services. It's not just food. There's more services that are on here, so that's kind of neat. Let's see. Cards will be available when we start band camp. Probably in July, we'll start getting you guys information so you can start telling people about them and letting people know how they can get them from you. And then first day of band camp, if you have some that you're already ready to purchase, you would just get like a large yellow envelope, write your child's name and their class on there, and how many cards you want, send the money in, get it to the office. Our treasurer will come and pick that up and return it, the exact same envelope with your cards in it, to the school, and your child will get that. That saves him having to sit there. Melissa remembered when she had to do it, sit there for an hour and there'd be a line and it would hold things up. So it became a pretty easy way to just make that happen. As far as elite cards, do you guys have any questions on how those are gonna work? Good? Everybody clear? Awesome. Okay, I think that's the end of my stuff. Yes.
Okay. Let's see. All right, then that's where we're at. So, another big thing that we do for fundraising is spirit wear. It's where you get t-shirts, all the other shirts. So I'm going to invite Rob up here to say a little bit about that, to get you guys the information on if he needs anything or whatnot.
Hello, so this is pretty simple, as you're probably all familiar with spirit wear. The biggest thing is we want this to run quickly. We want to make sure spirit wear is available to the kids when they start band camp rather than getting to them later. So it really starts now. As far as the spirit wear logo, in years past, kids have been allowed to offer a design, anybody in the band. So that's open again this year. So if anybody is interested in putting forth a design, feel free to have them do that. A digital format is really what's going to be necessary, we can work on what it is, but not just a hand sketch. But they can get those to Marty, and then the committee, Susan Steinhauser, Kate Kasser, will figure out what logo will be used for the spirit wear. But we'd like to have any logo that's brought forth done by June 15th. Again, it's a timing issue. We want to be able to have it ready so that we can get to a printer by early July, so that we can get you a link for ordering. So you have 10 days to a couple weeks so that we can get the order in, a week before August and before band camp starts. Typical type items, and again, it's all optional. I don't think there's anything required through spirit wear that the kids have to order or any family member. But hoodies, t-shirts, hats, things like that are common. We've talked about, some people have suggested jackets, fanny packs, stickers, some other things. So if there's things that you think other kids would be interested in that you would like to see on that link, let us know ahead of time so that we can work with the printer to do that. All right, thank you.
Okay, and I misspoke. I got sports mixed up. We do not use this as a fundraiser, so there's no markup on the spirit wear. My bad. My bad. And then another committee is our hospitality committee, and Susan Steinhauser runs all of this, and Susan does a great job helping to organize all of the events. So we have the big band dance coming up Saturday. Wow, it's already. Yeah. So we got the big band dance coming up, and Susan has basically taken that on, and all of the decorations that you'll see there if you're able to go, the table settings, all of that stuff, Susan has done. She often recruits a lot of help from various people. Anybody that wants to help, I don't think she'll ever say no. So, if you would ever want to help with anything, you could get a hold of Susan for all of that. You've already met Jen with the uniforms, so I think Tiffany covered that pretty well, so I don't think we got to go over that again. And something that's not on here, I'm actually going to invite Jimmy back up here to introduce somebody else that is very special to this band and a very, very important piece to what we get done.
I would be remiss if I did not mention John McQuaid. John, stand up, buddy. John is our maintenance, mechanical, truck driver, whatever we need fixed. He's the guy, and he handles it all with a smile, and he cares as much for your kids as everybody else does. One of the great stories, we were coming back from Columbus from an away game. Tire had a flat tire. The tire had a flat tire? The trailer had a flat tire. Blew out, full of instruments. So John gets off in a relatively good area, pretty well lit, but he didn't rest. He came back to Ashland, he got a tire, he went back down just so that nothing could happen to however many thousands of dollars were in that trailer. But that's kind of dedication that John has. So John, we thank you very much, and it was a great honor to work with you in my tenure as well.
Yes, and I asked all them to help me. That was a joke. No. Thanks for coming. There are so many great students that I love to see their faces when we're allowed to see faces. And, you know, our incoming freshmen, and I see a couple of them here tonight, and some parents I don't quite recognize, but maybe that's because I've never seen your face. I don't know. But our incoming freshmen, by all rights, should just be terrible, right? They stopped having regular school halfway through their 7th grade year. And we're just gonna like drop them in a high school marching band next year. But they're not. This is an amazing group of kids. And some of your parents are probably like, no, you don't know them that well. Well, the kids that I see in the mornings are fantastic. They're full of energy. They've got just the right amount of attitude to like them, right? They just hit that, and they know exactly how far to ratchet it up, and then they start talking about coffee with me, and then I forget that they're going crazy because they know what I like to talk about. And I'm really looking forward to this group. They're going to bring a lot of fun and a lot of heart to this band. So that's going to be fantastic. Now, when I talk about our incoming freshmen, one of the things I like to bring up is one of the biggest conflicts that I know a lot of schools have, and I know a lot of parents have experienced maybe in their own lives when they were younger, would be conflicts with Ashland school events, whether that be a sport or a club. What's really special about Ashland is we actually, I think we bend over backwards a little extra sometimes to make sure all the kids can do all they want. In the high school band right now, and I'm gonna miss something here, but we've got kids that are in soccer, tennis, volleyball, basketball, baseball, softball, football. I'm missing things, mock trial, they did the musical. It's really unique that we're able to work that well together. Mr. Diedrich and I work really well with Mr. Goings, and you already heard Jimmy talk about how well we work with the athletic department. And we exchange emails or physically sit down with coaches to spell out, here's our games. Our games are our halftime shows, or it's our spring concert or whatever. When are your games? And we make sure that if none of those conflict, right away, we're great. Because if I have a practice, I'm not going to expect you there if you have a game. Or if I have a performance, you're not going to be expected to go to a certain practice. There's a lot of times we overlap with practices. You might be leaving one and going straight to another kind of thing. But we do really play nice. And that's what that's what keeps our numbers so high is that involvement that you can do those things. A lot of other schools are like, yeah, I wanted to do band, but I decided to do football instead. And we welcome those kids. So don't think of that as any kind of obstacle. And if you've got a friend who's on the fence, or even somebody who's coming in as a freshman that's never played in band, we're gonna figure out how to get them in. We're gonna figure out how to get an instrument in their hand and make them at least passable to start the season. Because, you know, chances are they already know which foot's the left one and which one's the right, so they got the marching part, isn't gonna be that difficult. We want them to be involved. So I'm just gonna keep beating that over and over and over again. Every year we get high school kids that have never touched an instrument in their life, and they join band. I've got 3 kids ready to join this year, as long as we can agree on what instruments make the most sense. Not drums. Another important thing we didn't talk a lot about is Disney. The way Disney's been happening, how we've had to cancel and cancel, it's happening next April. It is happening. We're on the schedule with Disney. We're in the system with our travel agent. If you haven't had the chance to register and you're interested, I believe it's $50 gets you registered. So I would do that. I would go online. One of our links on our website, ashlandbands.org, is Disney. Click on it. All the info's there to sign you up. Now, if you decide you don't want to fundraise, feel free to pay for all of Disney yourself. Feel free. But if you want to sell a lot of those elite cards or do some of our other things we're going to have, volunteer. We have lots and lots of kids that don't pay for Disney at all, and they still go. They don't pay for it all because their parents came in and helped, and we sold some more card to make that happen. I admit that is going to be tough for freshmen because normally we would have several years before you jump in, but just the way we've had to cancel and reschedule things, the time is limited. But we want everybody that wants to go. We want to help figure that out, how we can do that, and how we can make that happen. So if you have a specific Disney question or a question about scheduling and conflicts, you can probably get the answer on the band website, probably. But if you can't find that answer, email me, email the boosters. Our info's on that site. So we just want to make it clear that we're here to make sure the kids have a good experience. If they're not enjoying themselves, I'm not enjoying myself. And those of you who know me know that's true. Now, when they are enjoying themselves, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm enjoying myself. Depends on the day. But I just want them to end up, they're going to graduate high school. We're going to say, band helped me make me a better person and made me love music. And I just love what that is. And we see that when we do homecoming and our alumni come back and want to keep going. And we just hope that's true for your student too. Now, there's 1 or 2 more things to do, but I want to invite up, we have new directors for our Sweeties, and I really consider the Sweeties, those of you who are musicians know there are 4 instrument families. We've got brass, we've got wood, and we've got percussion, but we don't have strings in the band. Our 4th instrument family is the Sweeties. So for marching band, we have that 4th instrument family. So I want to invite Melissa Merkel and her crew on up, or are you just smiling and waving? Are you coming up? Are you not? They're gonna come. To just introduce themselves, and we're excited to welcome them to the program.
Yes, I'm not quite as tall as everybody else. So I'm Melissa Merkel, and this is Ann DeHinden and Jordan Sappel, and the 3 of us are going to be directing the Sweet 16 this year. We're super excited about it. As Marty said, our vision is to make this one unit together, so we are like any other section of the band. Even though we're our own little entity where we do some different things, we are right in there. So when he says band, he's talking to all of us. So any Sweeties or Sweet parents out there know that we are part of this one unit, and we're super excited to be part of that. I'm excited to have Ann and Jordan help me along this journey. We have some exciting ideas for the girls to try some new things, and so we'll see where this goes, and I'm just really happy to be part of it. You guys want to say anything, or are you good? All right, thank you.
That's really all for the formal meeting. If you have questions or concerns, come on down. Oh, you have a question, Susan? Sure, yes. Yes, or Sammy could grow. Come on down if you have any questions. I'd love to answer them. I think we should call up Heather, so her first official act as president is to adjourn the meeting. Come on, come on.
Just kidding, I'm not adjourning it. So we actually do have a need right now for Saturday. We actually are looking for 3 more volunteers to come help with the big band dance. And the volunteers are just, what are we doing? Serving like punch, cookies, cupcakes, what else is it? Yeah, it's just some snack stuff. We just need kind of somebody to keep track of keeping the table filled. And then also we have a couple of selfie stations.
We do, we have like, I have tripods for like the selfie ones, but, you know, if somebody wants to help to make sure the kids are.
Right, so if a large group of kids wants to get a selfie together or whatever, we're gonna have a couple of things set up there. So we do need 3 more volunteers, right? 3 more volunteers. If anybody wants to come up, talk to Susan about it, she can tell you. Talk to Tiffany, she can get you signed up. So what do I need to say now? Adjourned?